And welcome everybody. My name's Rose Smith from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thanks for joining me today. If you're new, subscribe and be alive and hit that notification bell right now. Okay, something I wanted to talk about is that, and if you've been following me, you'll know that I do a fair bit of media work. I get a lot of requests for horoscopes from mainstream media outlets and others. And so I often do those. And in the comments, I see all sorts of criticisms, but a recurring criticism is that people say, oh, you just can't divide all of the humanity up into 12 categories, okay? That's really not what astrology is trying to do. But as you can appreciate, with the media and, you know, even writing on just a general website, there's always a there's always a space constraint. There's also a time constraint for me. So I just literally cannot do over 7 billion horoscopes. I just can't do it. And so we have to take shortcuts and just sort of pick out a few very, important elements, but we can't include everything. So I just want to talk about, skeptics and non-believers, that they really focus on this point. And it's actually not correct. It actually shows a misunderstanding of astrology. So that got me thinking that probably people don't realise that there's so much more to astrology than just your sun sign, okay? And in the olden days, it used to be that the moon sign was more important than the sun sign. It's really only comparatively recently, I think it's probably like the last 100 years, that there's been so much focus on the sun sign. In reality, these two are equally as important as each other. Okay, I just want to show you a few sort of facts about numbers and things like that. So let's go to the board. Okay, so the three most important things in a horoscope is the sun, the moon, and the ascendant. Okay, the sun and the moon are of equal importance. Okay, and this represents the masculine and the feminine, the outer life and the inner life, and you can't have one without the other. Now we have there's actually dozens and dozens of different types of, astrology schools of thought, but in many, 12 star signs, okay, and in Western astrology we have 12 star signs. So if we were to work this out, there's a lot of combinations, plus there is actually an infinite number of combinations when we look at heavenly bodies. So other planets, if you're really interested in relationships, for example, then you really should look at what your Venus is doing. Where in your chart this month is Venus, for example? If you're maybe more spiritual and you really want to focus on the spiritual, well, what are Uranus, Neptune and Pisces? Where are they? What houses are they sitting in, those planets? So depending on what you're looking at, things will take on a different importance for different people. But basically, if we figured this out, say you're a Libra, example like me, you might have a Libra sun. Say you had a Libra moon, and say you had a Libra ascendant. This is possible but quite rare. You would have, of those three most important things, you would have 3. Okay. But if you worked it out, the probability would be 1 out of 12, 1 out of 12, 1 out of 12, because there's 12 star signs. So that would equal 3 out of 1728, and if we bring that down, that would be 1 out of 576. Okay, so there you have 576 combinations just for those three things. Okay, without looking at other planets. And so we have Mercury, we have the sun, the moon, we're looking at those, and we have Mercury, Venus. We don't look at the Earth because astrology is about looking at the sky from the Earth, okay, and your viewpoint. And so we look at Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and we still look at Pluto in astrology, and we still call Pluto, the Sun and the Moon planets, because that goes back thousands of years ago, to 8,000 years ago, or even more perhaps. But those outer planets, what's called the transpersonal planets, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto, they couldn't see those. They weren't discovered until actually the 1800s and the 1900s. So Pluto, the one that's furthest out and is really very transpersonal, reincarnation, life, death, rebirth, and you come back here as another person, basically is what it stands for, but all sorts of deep things, as well as, manipulation, power over, and, there's a whole lot of other things associated with Pluto. That wasn't discovered, I think it was 1934. And so the ancients never looked, or they couldn't see those outer three planets. So they based their astrology only up until Saturn. And then once all these new planets were discovered in the 18 and 1900s, then they became the rulers of different star signs. And so you can have Pisces that has two rulers, Scorpio that has two rulers, and so on. So I just wanted to point this out because unbelievers, they come up with, or non-believers, they come up with arguments that are not really, based on astrology. They're just basing it on what they see in the newspapers or online in, the 12 sun signs. And they're really not the most important thing. And the other thing to take into consideration is this is just our solar system. There's a whole great big universe out there. And our solar system's actually changing at 500,000 miles per hour. It's actually moving at 500,000 miles per hour. And so there's like a constant change in astrology. And then you can get into sort of progress charts and things like that, So this is just a quick thing to let you know what you can say next time if you are an astrologer. Next time somebody says, oh, you can't classify the whole of humanity in just 12 subtypes, you can say, well, actually astrology doesn't do that. And these are the three most important things. So the other point I want to make too is that I do wonder about, our industrialised societies and very technological society, especially in the West today, because we can't, in a lot of places they can't see the stars, and I think that's really important that we go outside and look at the stars and look at the planets. And get one of those little apps if you can. I think you can get them for like 99 cents or something like that. My husband got ours, so I don't know the details, but you can get an app to tell you where the planets are in the sky, and you just point your device towards that area of the sky, and then it pops up with where the planets are and the major constellations. We can only see 88 of the constellations. We don't see all of the constellations, and so astrology can't account for billions and billions or countless, limitless constellations and stars. So yeah, that's just a bit of background of the things that have been playing on my mind at the moment. So I hope this is helpful for you. Leave a like or, subscribe and hit that notification bell if you're new. I would really appreciate that. I'm just about to go on with this week's Pick a Card now. Okay, have a great week, everyone. I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Thanks so much for watching. Please visit my website, absolutesoulsecrets.com, for all things spiritual. Have a lovely day.